Welcome to the University of Manchester and to this graduation ceremony here in the Whitworth Hall. In particular, I'd like to welcome our graduands, whose achievement and hard work we are here to celebrate today. I'd also like to welcome the family and friends of our graduands, many of whom have traveled long distances to be here. We welcome you to the university, and we thank you for the help, for the support, and the encouragement that you have given our graduands during their studies. Finally, I'm particularly pleased to welcome back one of our former students, Dr. John Emsley, who is best known for his highly readable and award-winning books on chemistry, and who is also a respected broadcaster. It is a great privilege to have Dr. Emsley with us today, and we are delighted to honor him with an Outstanding Alumnus Award during this ceremony. Now, conventionally at this point in the ceremony, the presiding officer summarizes for the benefit of the graduands the standing and the recent achievements of the university and of the school, in the confident knowledge that in 12 months' time or so, he or she will be standing here once again doing much the same thing. This time it's a little different for me, as I too am moving on to new opportunities and challenges, with perhaps the same mix of anticipation and sadness that you also feel. So in the following remarks, I am reflecting on the institution of which both you and I will shortly be alumni. You graduate today from one of the finest universities in the UK and Europe, and indeed beyond. As you develop your future careers, you will undoubtedly benefit from the fact that you carry the accolade of a degree from the University of Manchester. This is often discussed in terms of brand, and whether you are comfortable or, like me, vaguely uncomfortable with the use of that terminology in the context of universities, you should be aware of the substance behind that brand. Manchester is now, by common consent, a member of the Big Five UK universities, comprising Oxford, Cambridge, Imperial College London, University College London, and now Manchester. Where once we used to talk of the golden triangle of Oxford, Cambridge, and London, there is now talk of a golden diamond to include Manchester also. This past year has seen the outcome of the 2008 research assessment exercise of all research conducted in UK universities. As Vice President for Research, I was expecting at the time of the announcement of the results to spend considerable time in deciding how best to present the outcome in the best possible light, if you like, what spin to place on the results. In the event, I didn't need to do so. However the results are calculated, Manchester is ranked between 3rd and 5th in the UK. This outstanding outcome represents, I believe, a ringing endorsement of the vision behind the coming together in 2004, just 5 years ago, of UMIST and the Victoria University of Manchester. The School of Chemistry, built from the chemistry departments in the 2 predecessor universities, is now one of the largest and most successful in the UK. In the research assessment exercise, 65% of the work reported from the school was judged to be internationally leading or of international excellence. But we should take pride also in the extraordinary range of scholarly work and both pure and applied research that is conducted in the School of Chemistry here in Manchester, reflecting as it does the breadth and the reach of the subject of chemistry itself. Our work in the school includes contributions to environmental research, to the science underpinning the nuclear power industry, to the development of nanoscience and nanotechnology, to quantitative approaches to biology of complex systems, and many other areas. Oftentimes, such topics may appear esoteric to the lay person, though our outstanding alumnus awardee today, Dr. John Emsley, is a past master at converting the apparently obscure into the thoroughly engaging. Occasionally, however, work from the school immediately catches the imagination of both an academic and a lay audience. A recent example is the work of Professor John Sutherland here and his colleagues who have, for the first time, demonstrated the chemical feasibility of the spontaneous assembly of RNA molecules in the primitive conditions that are thought to have existed on Earth preceding the development of life. RNA, rather than its close relative DNA, is considered by many to be the most likely chemical candidate as a carrier of biological information in the earliest forms of life. The high quality of the work of the School of Chemistry in Manchester is regularly reflected in both national and international awards. This year, these awards have included the Royal Society of Chemistry Peter Day Award to our head of school, Professor Paul O'Brien. It includes also the Organic Industrial Chemistry Award, also from the Royal Society of Chemistry, to Professor Nick Turner, and also the RSC Synthetic Organic Chemistry Award to Professor Jim Thomas. Creating knowledge, or research, is one half of a university's fundamental mission. The second half is disseminating knowledge, in large part through the education of undergraduates and postgraduates. For universities such as Manchester, it is central to our approach that the quality of the education provided is enhanced by the fact that the teachers not only keep up to date with the state of the art, but indeed help to create that state of the art. We celebrate also the translation of our research into industrial practice, exemplified this year by the flotation of the spin-out company Nanoco from Professor O'Brien's work, and this company is now valued at in excess of £60 million. I hope you as graduates feel that you have benefited from working in this vibrant intellectual environment. I hope also that you recognize that for the past several years, you have been part of a community that seeks to engage in and address some of the most basic scientific questions and some of the most fundamental issues facing society. And here I reflect once again that I, too, am proud to have been part of such an environment. The fact that you've been part of this intellectual community gives you, as Manchester graduates, a key competitive advantage as you enter the next stages of your lives and careers. You should feel proud to be joining a group of more than 220,000 UMIST and University of Manchester graduates living and working across the globe. 23 of our former staff and students have gone on to become Nobel Prize winners, whilst today our graduates can be found in top positions in business, politics, sport, and the arts. Shortly, we will recognize in particular the achievements of one particularly distinguished alumnus in our own field. The Alumni Association will help you to remain in contact with the university and with each other through reunions, networking opportunities, the Alumni Magazine, and the Internet. I do hope that you will make use of the many benefits and services that the association offers and enjoy meeting up with one another again in the future. As a university, we look to our graduates for support, not just as circumstances permit, financial support, but more importantly, a supportive contribution to the national debate which will certainly intensify in the next 12 months or so, a debate over the importance of higher education, particularly as we approach times which we know to be very challenging financially and economically. Finally, on behalf of the university, I congratulate all of you who are graduating today on your academic achievements, and I wish you every success for your future careers. I should now like to turn to the head of school, Professor Paul O'Brien, to present the Outstanding Alumnus Award.
Good morning. Vice President, ladies, gentlemen, guests, friends, colleagues, and perhaps most importantly, graduates. Today is an important day for all of us and all of you, and is about celebrating the achievements of our latest studies. But it's a very special pleasure for me to welcome back a graduate of this university. Let me be discreet and say around about 50 years since he sat in this very hall. And as I wish you good fortune as you embark on your own career, to celebrate the career of a very distinguished graduate of this university. He chose to study chemistry at the university and set the seeds of a very distinguished academic career. I've actually known John for not 50 years, but 20 or 30. And he started as a really very, very well-known academic and then organic chemist working largely in London. But latterly has become really very well-known for his science writing, his broadcasting, and as the author of many, many very special books about chemistry. So, ladies and gentlemen, today, for the University of Manchester's Alumni Association's Outstanding Alumnus for 2009, we have Dr. John Emsley. To give you the citation, this award celebrates the accomplishments of former students who have earned recognition and respect in their fields and through their work have brought honour to their alma mater, the University of Manchester. There is no doubt that Dr. Emsley surpasses these criteria, so it's a great pleasure to have him here. It's rather like being the best man at the wedding, this. I'm now charged with embarrassing him with a few biographical details. He arrived here as a bright young Yorkshire schoolboy, it says, with a state scholarship to study chemistry in Manchester. He comes from an ordinary background, as do many chemists. There's even an expression which is dying slightly, the northern chemist, because many people studied chemistry believing that the professions were closed to ordinary people. It has been an enormous benefit to the subject and discipline. He arrived in a chemistry department was brimming with talent, and it was a time, as now, when chemistry formed one of the powerhouses of our economy. Relatively few people know that the chemical using industry and chemical industries are still our largest exporters, our largest individual turnover in manufacturing, with a turnover of around £50 billion per year. He remembers, I'm told, his days in Manchester as amongst the happiest in his life, and recalls, now this bit I find difficult, but I've given this as a quote, that he found Mancunians seemed to be friendlier and more relaxed than his fellow Yorkshiremen. He'll be pleased to know that little's changed. You have to bear in mind, and it is less, I think, so than it was in my youth, there is this tremendous rivalry leading back to a major civil war, probably the most nasty civil war in the history of England, between Yorkshire and Lancashire. Anyway, he stayed in Manchester and studied for a master's degree and attained a PhD in 1963. I'll give away some state secrets now. He then took up lecturing positions in London and spent most of his time working at King's College. And then his career path changed. It was in around 1975 he published a scholarly book on phosphorus chemistry. It was also around that time we met, actually, and he also met Jim Thomas sitting in the audience here. Jim was working at King's College at the time. I was working, actually, for my PhD with a mutual friend of ours. And we met separately, but that's around about when we met. And he'd written this textbook. When he completed it, he found he had information left over. And rather than just leave this alone, he wrote a popular scientific article for the New Scientist magazine. This quite serendipitous event, this use of additional information, turned out to be portentous. The magazine were impressed by his subject and the clear flowing style with which he was able to explain much difficult chemistry. They asked him to write some more, and eventually he became their official chemistry consultant. Over the following 10 to 15 years, his writing career flourished. And I knew John quite well at this time, and it was remarkable to see how he developed this entirely new career path in mid-career. He was writing regularly for the national press, most notably for The Independent, with an article called Molecule of the Month, and I remember reading these, and several of his articles about chemistry and its importance to science, society, and mankind in general. In 1990, he took early retirement from his job at King's College and became a science writer, a freelance science writer, and took up posts of science writer in residence at Imperial College and at Cambridge University. It was at this time, actually, that he published his first book, and in fact, this is at a time when he was science writer in residence at Imperial, and by coincidence, I was Imperial. And I nearly remember the party we had, because John's first book, The Consumer's Guide to Good Chemistry, put together many of the ideas about how chemicals and chemistry is good for us and good for our economy and actually good for people. And it won in 1994 the Rome Prolonged Science Book Prize. Now, it says in my notes, not bad for a first attempt. The other major person after this award at the time was Arthur C. Clarke, who you may have heard of. This was a remarkable achievement for a first-time author of a popular book. He's gone on to write many more books. A lifetime interest in the periodic table has led to several books about the periodic table, but The Shocking History of Phosphorus is very popular. Vanity, Vitality and Virility is another one, and Molecules of Murder. You can see he doesn't stray away from the sort of exciting title for his books. I was told today by one of my colleagues that it's almost de rigueur when you write your statement on a UCAS form for you to have mentioned having read a book by John Emsley. And this was from a very distinguished and ancient university, part of that diamond you mentioned. He's continued writing and has acted as chemistry consultant for the Broadcast Advertising Clearance Centre, which vets TV advertisements for household products containing chemicals. Nothing was broadcast without John's approval, so you can blame him personally for all those adverts about washing powder and shampoo. It is a very special skill to make a complex technical subject accessible to the general public. And not only do people enjoy his books, but they come out not only wiser, but better informed as well. John has skill in abundance, and we're very, very proud to call him a graduate of the University of Manchester. It now remains for me to present Vice President Dr. John Emsley to you for the award of this year's Outstanding Alumnus.
Well, Vice President, ladies and gentlemen, graduates, of course I feel particularly honoured that this award has been made to me. As it's been mentioned, I graduated like you 49 years ago from this university, and my aim was to continue with chemistry, so I then did a PhD in phosphorus chemistry and then went to London University to do postdoctoral research and eventually became a lecturer at King's College. And my career seemed fairly well planned. I began to do research. I built a research group. I was lecturing. And then, as Professor O'Brien has just said, I wrote a book with a colleague called The Chemistry of Phosphorus. And there was material left over which really wasn't suitable for a textbook, which I thought would make a lovely article for new scientists. And I called it The Shocking History of Phosphorus. Now, of course, I was not writing in the style of a journalist at that time, but I submitted it, and I got a phone call very quickly from Lawrence McGinty. Now, Lawrence McGinty was the features editor then. He's now the science editor for ITN News. And he invited me to go for lunch, and that lunch, of course, was the turning point in my career, because he went over the article I'd written, pointing out that almost every sentence was wrong and telling me how I could put it right. So I had a sort of a 2-hour tutorial on how to write so people could understand what you were talking about. Rewrite it, he said, and we'll look at it again. So I rewrote it, resubmitted it, it became their cover feature. And of course, you get, at that time I was newly married, well, not newly married, I'd been married about 10 years with a family, and of course a nice cheque came in very handy. And I didn't do very much after that until about a year later they asked for another article, and then another one. And generally, as I was doing my research, you know, most of what I was writing, of course, was research papers. I would come across a piece of information in the literature which I thought other people might be interested in, and I would write a little news item for New Scientist, and slowly this career began to build up until I became their consultant, and then eventually I took early retirement to become a full-time science writer. And as soon as that happened, I got a phone call from Imperial College from Professor Steve Lay, the head of the department there, saying, would I like to go there and become their science writer in residence? And of course, being attached to a distinguished organisation like a university like this one gives you a good reputation with people in the media. If you're writing chemistry, of course, you probably know a lot of the chemistry you read in the media is rubbish, but if you're writing chemistry and they know it's going to be okay, then of course they'll accept what you're saying. And that, of course, I've then felt was my career, to get good chemistry into the media, explaining to ordinary people what chemistry does, the benefits that it confers to us, and after my career progressed from that. And one day, of course, as Professor Branch just said, someone knocked at my door at Imperial College, some called Michael Rogers of Oxford University Press, saying he'd read my articles in this Independent. Would I like to write a book? Well, I hadn't thought of writing a popular book at that point, but then I did, of course, as it won the Science Book Prize. And then every year after that, I more or less produced another book. So I'm now on my 13th. The curious thing about these books is, you probably know, the British public are not big readers of popular science. And I think my success has really been not so much in Britain as abroad. I've got far bigger readership in, for example, Germany. And all my books have been translated into the major languages, and some into some of the quite minor languages like Korean and Thai and Croatian and Finnish. So I have an enormous collection of books trying to spread this word, and of course this is what my life has really been all about, that chemistry really underpins a lot, and of course this century, as you know, it's going to be the question of, can we have all our benefits from chemistry in a sustainable way? And the book I'm writing at the moment is trying to show that that would be almost possible if we just do some sensible things. Well, that's more or less my career. As I say, I'm very pleased to have been given this award. Very thankful that Professor Thomas, Professor O'Brien, Professor Collins put me forward for it. I've always been proud of Manchester University. When I left it in 1963, it had been some of the happiest days of my life. Again, whenever people talk about Manchester University, I can always give you my support. I've always felt very grateful. It is a wonderful university. It is a wonderful chemistry department, and thank you very much.
Vice President, on behalf of the Senate of the University, I present to you for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Akinteo Olawole Adiza. Christine Arndt. Andrew Ballantyne, Heloise Bryce, Rachel Sarah Gwen Cooper, Lorna Duffy, Tom Findlay, David Foley, Christopher Handley, Elizabeth Candice Harper, Deborah Jane Last, Andrumachi Malakandraki, Laura Claire Miller, Mark Miller, my own student Sibuzu Nkutsohona Malondo, Christopher Medlowski, Stefanos Ogantis, Caroline Ovens, William Perry, Daniel Robert Potter, Matthew Powner, Michael Redmond, Anthony David Rivers, Emma Scales, James Senior, Mariam Shoai, Claire Vickers, Desheng Zhu, and for the degree of Master of Science by Research in Physical Methods and Post-Genome Science, Zach Fayatori. And for the degree of Master of Chemistry in Analytical Chemistry with Honours, Wing Lun Choi. And in Chemistry with Honours, Simon Jonathan Benny. Mark Philip Brighton. Robert George Burns. Kwong Kit Nicholas Chan. Kwai King Chi. Alexander Benjamin Chew. Neil Creasy. Francine Elizabeth Edwards. Tony Farrell. Valentine Sebastian Hahn. Helen Claire Hardwick. Joshua Thomas Healy. Christopher Ben Hughes. Jonathan Mark Hughes. Robert Alexander Johnston. Stephen Johnston. Mark Adam Lever. Sarah Victoria Lindley. Andrew James Martin. Richard Stephen Massey. Edith Monk. Joseph Wench. Jamie Rowney. Joseph William Sharples. Jamie Edward Stokes. Anna Josephine Townsend. Glenn Christian Townsend. George Frederick Stephen Whitehead. Daniel Nathan Woodruff. And in chemistry with business and management with honours, Lawrence William Fox. And in chemistry with forensic science with honours, Claire Ashley Barker. David Paul Coucher. Alan Frew. Christopher Hambley. Edward Neil Samuel Prophet. And in chemistry with industrial experience with honours, Rhiannon Bird. Sean Butterworth. Adam Gordon Caswell. Adam Cryer. Graham Dorr. Jessica Farrell. Robert Louis Finch. Daniel Lawson Galloway. Samuel Ben Galton. Christopher Paul Green. Adam Stewart Griffiths. Robert Hay. Joanna Hemming. Adele Elizabeth Hitchen. Samantha McGee. Thomas Leonard Henry Painter. Amarpreet Punia. Catherine Ann Elizabeth Roberts. Daniel Mark Whitaker. Martin Yin Chung Wong. And in chemistry with medicinal chemistry with honours, Shanila Ahmed. Nick Atherton. Christopher Butler. Christopher Ken Y. Chan. Mark Cresswell. Winnie Velangu Parakal. And in chemistry with patent law with honours, Afruja Sultana Lily Ali. Amy Smart. And in chemistry with study in North America with honours, Robert Andrew Brown. Robert Futhi. Jake Goodwin Tyndall. And in medicinal chemistry with honours, Jonathan Mark Hall. And for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Chemistry with honours, Jessica Emily Burgess. Hee Kyung Cha. Sarah Chase. Elizabeth Coombs. Helen Claire Davis. Simon Downing. Andrew James Eberhardt. James Thomas Gebby. Feiqua Gahoor. Very sorry. Gahoor. James David Hallows. Katie Meredith Ann Hardy. Christian Daniel Haythorne. Peter Lee Haywood. Jawad Hussain. David G. Sandara Miriam Kumari Jerome. Sonia Khan. Maxine Lomas. Shumit Kumar Mandal. Anthony McNamara. Lisa Pliavin. Dean Ryder. Nina Spencer. Michael John Trelawney. Leanne Fiona Vernon. Chen Yu. And for the degree, Christopher James Astles. Arthur Crabtree. Noshi Raymond. Adam James Stott. And in chemistry with forensic science with honours, Charlotte Emma Hogan. Janelle Dacia James. Queenie Chung Yan Lau. Elizabeth Marshall. Ogenechijiro Otobo. And in chemistry with industrial experience with honours, Christopher James Keynes. Alistair James Fraser. Amy Jackson. Amir Khan. And in chemistry with medicinal chemistry with honours, Frederick Druitt. Ashley Robert Jennings. Michael Thornhill. Manatunga Deviga Vidyachalaki. Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Economic Science with honours, Mohammed Bilal Khalid. And for the degree of Bachelor of Science with honours, Robert Waterhouse.
Today we've celebrated the award of your degrees. Many congratulations once again. On behalf of the University of Manchester, may I offer you all success in the future. I now declare the ceremony closed. Would you please rise?